In the deepest parts of our hearts, we have some very crucial yearnings. A yearning to belong, a yearning to live a life of meaning and value, a yearning to be happy. While all these are crucial, my focus in this video is on the last of these, the yearning to be happy. Osuofia in London Part 1, directed and produced by Kingsley Ogoro, is one of Nigeria's most popular and influential films. It's a comedy that tells the story of Osuofia, an Igbo Nigerian villager whose life transforms drastically after the death of his wealthy brother who lived in London. His life experiences a complete turnaround after he is informed that he is the inheritor of his brother's wealth. He is then invited to travel to London to confirm ownership of this wealth. The contrast between life in Igbo land, where Osuofia is from, and London, which Osuofia later travels to, is highlighted painstakingly from the start of the film. Igbo land is depicted as underdeveloped and even primitive, while London is juxtaposed as civilized and developed. We are not shown urban sides of Igbo land or Nigeria. This sets the scene for the film because for Osuofia, his rural, uncivilized village is the place he must leave to escape unhappiness, while the civilized and developed London is the place where happiness was to be found. His departure from his village is a community experience rather than an individual one, which depicts the kind of society he comes from. It also shows that he desired to leave a community vision of happiness that came from a life of shared values in pursuit of one that catered to his personal dreams. He also perceived himself as superior to people in his community, which foreshadows the treatment he would receive in London, as people there would in turn treat him as inferior to British residents.
Look at this girl. Look. Stay like a woman. What is wrong with you? Does your mother know that you are here? You don't know you're supposed to cover yourself. Cover yourself, don't you know?
The belief that happiness is to be found outside of one's home and familiar environments is common amongst people around the world. This is the case for many African people too, who look to achieve happiness in a distant, non-African setting. The mundane is seen by many people as a place of unhappiness. We have an inner tension with everyday life, a frustration with repetitiveness, and an itch for a boost of excitement into our routines, habits, activities, or relationships, as we believe new experiences will satisfy our yearning for happiness. In the context of this film, the pursuit of happiness extends past a mere psychological desire into a colonial mindset too. The idea that happiness is found in a Western country is one that many Africans have, and it often comes with a downcast attitude towards all things authentically African. Obodoyibo, a popular Nigerian term, which may be translated as white man's land, is Osuofia's sight of happiness. His view of happiness being found in a Western country is not carried by him alone. We see that his daughters also share this view. Their shared ambition expresses the deep conflict that they have within themselves about their African identity. For Osuofia, going abroad is an imagined larger-than-life experience. This scene is symbolic of Osuofia's imagined status, as his people now look up to him, though they previously didn't. It is also symbolic of what he hopes to achieve through his trip to London, which is to attain a more distinguished life that will satisfy his desire for happiness. Upon arrival to London, Osuofia is absolutely fascinated and awestruck by his new surroundings. He soaks in his new environment and is naive to the crisis to follow in his quest to achieve happiness. What Osuofia discovers in London is a new world that attempts to censor the freedom with which he expresses himself and culture, a freedom he once had but likely disregarded until now.
Let me ask you once more. Who are you and where are you from?
And let me answer you one more time. I am Osuofia from Nekena Manasa.
And where exactly is this Amanasa or whatever?
It's not whatever, it's Amanasa. Amanasa is in Africa. Do you know where Africa is?
He is unapologetic about his identity and firmly resists what he perceives as attempts of control. The tension that Osuofia experiences is further embodied in the character of Samantha, his late brother's wife. As part of his cultural tradition, Osuofia was not only to inherit his brother's wealth, but also to marry his wife Samantha. Samantha embodies Osuofia's ambition. She embodies the appeal born from a new and foreign life and the idea that happiness is to be found in a new, distant experience or environment. She embodies a Western culture alongside its values, the things Osuofia felt awestruck by and in her sought to embrace. Back home, Osuofia was married to a wife and had 5 daughters. He lived in a village that was familiar to him, especially in terms of its cultural norms and values. He didn't have the problem of fitting in per se, but he didn't find happiness in his norm, in his everyday life. Upon meeting Samantha, he was presented with a rare opportunity, one he had never been offered. He was so enticed by this opportunity that he failed to see that Samantha was in a plot with his late brother's solicitor, Ben, to rob him of the wealth he had traveled to inherit. Ben is a contrast to Osuofia. Originally Igbo like Osuofia, Ben had also come from a Nigerian background to London and had supposedly assimilated into the UK. He presents himself to Osuofia as British, though he actually is Igbo.
I'm so sorry yesterday I couldn't return. It was because I had to, of course, make sure your papers were ready for your signature.
Are you talking to me? They are talking like Queen Elizabeth. Look at you. My friend, come down home and talk to me.
Oh.
Look at a fellow black man like me and my brother.
Yes.
I know you are trying to pretend. Speaking language that I will understand.
Okay.
Open your mouth when you want to talk to me. I am your brother.
The key difference between Ben and Osuofia is to be found in experience. Osuofia had just arrived in London and was unfamiliar with British cultural norms. Ben, having lived in the UK for a longer period, had gained familiarity with its society, but his familiarity has come at a cost. Ben has gained a false sense of belonging that required performance, a pretense that saw him hide his Igbo accent, unlike Osuofia, who embraced it with pride.
I hate these semi-illiterate foreign clients. They get me so annoyed and give me problems and wahala. When I get annoyed, I start to lose my British accent. My cultivated English natural accent.
The film critiques this false belonging and shows the challenge of abandoning one's cultural authenticity for a foreign identity. This represents the choice that Africans in the West have, the choice between authenticity or performance. The reality of authenticity is being comfortable in your skin, being confident without the need to perform. The reality of performance is living a lie, presenting yourself as something you're not, whether by faking your accent or intentions, misleading others into believing you are someone else. Osuofia finally learns that his trip wasn't all it presented itself to be, just like the character of Ben wasn't all he presented himself to be. Ben's character foreshadows Osuofia's expedition and the lesson he and everyone else must come to terms with if we are to achieve a higher, more noble sense of satisfaction in life. The lesson is that the happiness you seek elsewhere may not exist, and if it does, it might cost you more than you imagined. what you leave behind might be more meaningful than what you intend to pursue. The film ends with Osuofia escaping with Samantha to Africa while being pursued by Ben and the London police. Samantha represents a foreign, deceitful system that is really against you but is adaptable depending on its interests.
Basically, I've decided to be your wife.
You what? You don't mean it?
Of course I do.
Fantastic! You follow me to Africa?
Yes.
It should have been yesterday.
Samantha agrees to be Osuofia's wife to manipulate him into fleeing the country with her. Osuofia still trusts Samantha despite learning that she lied to him. Ben represents the betrayal of our own selves, the betrayal of Africans by fellow Africans. At the end of the film, we learn that happiness is not a sufficient goal in itself to chase, but meaning is, and meaning is to be found in the mundane and everyday. As Sound Sultan says in his song Area, for all my brothers we don't go outside Niger, always try to look back, cause there's no place like home. Meaning is to be found at home.